Greetings and God's peace be with you. My name is Kristofer Lindh-Payne and I'm one of the co-rectors at St. Francis Episcopal Parish and Community Center. I am recording this video to you in this first full week of Lent in a stream not far from where I live in Catonsville. I don't know that the stream has a name. I have been in relationship to the stream for decades. Spent many times walking through it, picking up trash around it, playing back here in the woods. But as the stream flows down, makes its way about a mile from here to the Patapsco River. Patapsco then flows along the boundaries between Howard County and Baltimore County until it makes its way out into Baltimore City and eventually into the harbor and out into the larger bay, the Chesapeake Bay, which then flows into the ocean. It's a beautiful trajectory to follow as you try to imagine the flow of that water, except that there are thousands of pieces of trash all around in this particular stream bed area. I grieve this. I have a hard time understanding how people make the choices to litter what could be such a beautiful space. I know some of it is just the way that it flows down from the communities that are around this and the businesses that are around it, but some of it actually, is from the people that are walking through here. And there have been points where I spend more time back here picking up trash, but I've not been doing that lately. I really love the spiritual discipline of picking up trash. I think of it as an act of repentance. And I've done some reflection with you in our St. Francis spiritual sustenance videos in the past. But there's something about the opportunity to pick up a piece of trash, especially when it's in the water, because it's going to make its way down. And some of these plastics will be around for thousands of years. When I think about how we are all connected and the choices we make about the ways that we live our lives, I know in my sermon this past Sunday, the first Sunday in Lent, I went from the passage in Deuteronomy back into Genesis, into our core creation stories, and I was talking about how maybe we've really missed the mark in terms of how we feel like we need to have dominion over the land and all of creation. We have to subdue it, is the terms that are used in the scriptures, rather than be stewards, to recognize that we don't own these things, but we're called to care for them. What does it look like in our lives to take that posture in a different way? What does it look like even more deeply to feel so connected to all of creation that we feel a deep sense of responsibility and obligation to do that, not just for ourselves, but for the wider world, and for not just for those that are living now, but for those that will come later, for those future generations. In Sunday's sermon, and I encourage you to go back and listen to it if you have not had a chance to, but I was reflecting on some of this Genesis story and wondering if maybe we really got it wrong from the beginning in a way that we might not even fully realize yet. But I was thinking about this passage in Genesis 2:10, that a river flows out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it divides and becomes 4 branches. Imagining this great river that waters the Garden of Eden and then spreads out into the world. And imagining the way that God's love flows through this. As I think about the flow of this stream here and the way that it makes its way out into the Patapsco and to the Chesapeake and then the Atlantic, I think about my role and our role as a parish and community center in stewarding creation, in recognizing that we are a part of all of this. And so we have an obligation, a holy obligation. This time of Lent seems like a wonderful time to to become even more serious about our commitments for creation care, to put on gloves, work gloves, in this case rubber gloves, that equipped us to be able to do some of that hard, messy work. When we pick up a piece of trash and we remove it out of this and we put it where it belongs, even if it might seem like a small gesture, the power of that impact, if it's a piece of plastic that could remain in this stream bed and flow out for hundreds, thousands of years, because it takes that long to break down. The impact might seem small as you imagine picking up a piece of trash here or there. If one person commits to doing that can be a powerful thing if you do that in a regular way as part of a spiritual discipline. But if you do that as a community of faith, the power that can have, the impact that has as you imagine the way that those waters flow, and the difference between waters that are littered with all of the ways that human beings pollute this planet versus those clean streams. This is very much in our self-interest because we're a part of all this. So for you, as you ponder this Lent and the disciplines that sustain you, that are helping to transform you, I pray for you in that work, in that holy work with God, and work that we do together in support of each other. So I'm grateful to be in community with you. I'm grateful for the beauty of this creation and all that God has made good, that we are called to play a role in restoring and repairing. Thanks be to God for these hands that invite us into the messiness of life. God's peace be with you.